Well, Ashton Gate on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday, we heard some anti-board chanting. Is that ridiculous, or do you fully agree that the fans have a right to have a go at this board who keep getting rid of players but aren't bringing any in? Where are our ambitions? We've got Liam, Sam and Ben back with us this week on Where Robins Walk to discuss all the above. Plus, we need to say goodbye formally to Max O'Leary and just where will Bristol City finish this season? Hope you're well. Great to have your company. If you were looking for us last week, apologies. Man flu struck me down, so we wouldn't have been able to get through anything without hearing coughing. Hopefully, we'll be able to get through this episode as well. If you haven't found the channel before, do drop us a quick sub and a quick like. 20 minutes of Bristol City chat. Right, let's start with this one then, shall we, Liam? Mike says, easy win, well done. Wednesday fans were great. Their team was the worst we've seen so far. As for the board out chance, you need to grow up, boys. Are they right?
I think everyone's got a right to their own opinion. For people getting slated for having an opinion, I think it's a little bit wrong. That's the beautiful thing about football. Opinions are divided. Mine's completely different to Sam's and Ben's and Dell's and yours. There's no right or wrong. So for someone to say, you don't need to grow up, maybe they need to look at the other side of the coin and see where they're coming from. Looking at the game as a whole, when it was 0-0 at half time, I thought it was going to be one of those days. We just kept keep knocking on the door. We didn't really create much in the first half. So it's good to finally get it over the line. But it was expected, really, wasn't it? So it was nothing really to shout about.
Yeah, it was definitely my home accumulator line, so thank you very much. Just staying with that theme though, Sam Chat says, those were young singing anti-owner chants. I'd love to know your rationale as to why. It seemed to me pretty pathetic. However, clean sheet 3 points got to be onto next week now. Yeah, where do you stand, Sam, on fans having a go at the board? And there's been a lot, obviously, since Mehmeti going, which we'll get into in a minute. There's been a lot of people questioning where the board's ambitions are. Are they right to?
Yeah, I mean, I am quite frustrated about the lack of ambition at the moment. And it seems like the last week we're getting rid of a lot of players. But I think to have a go at the boards, I mean, they've got to think what Mr. Lansdown's done for us in the past and kept us afloat season after season. I mean, I'm just hoping that in the next week we got like 4 or 5 big players coming in.
Can you see that happening, Ben?
Hopefully, we definitely need a couple of players. I think I agree that the criticism of the board, the Lansdowns, is a bit. I think it's a bit unfair. I feel like Tinian, on the other hand, maybe some criticism is slightly more deserved because our incomings haven't been the best. They've been a bit hit and miss recently, but yeah, fingers crossed. We definitely need at least 1 or 2 signings in the next week in order to keep our promotion hopes up.
Now, we've been running this podcast since August. If you look back at our thumbnails, the player which has appeared the most in terms of standing out this season is now an Ipswich player, which is baffling to me as a neutral. I'm not sure how baffling it is to you guys. Let's see how divided you are on it. Christian says, do Bristol City still just like staying in the Championship in response to this particular decision? Del, what were your thoughts on this? Who's got the better deal of this?
Probably both clubs, to be honest with you, Mark. Mehmeti, he's obviously under Struber has developed this season. Everyone can see that. His stats are obviously very good, but for me, he's still a 1 in 3 player, 1 in 3 good game. He'll play well for 1 game, and then he'll go missing for 2 or 3 games after that. People have got to understand the end of the day, he wasn't going to sign a contract. So he either, if we weren't going to go up this season, then he would have gone for nothing in the summer. Again, Lansdowns would have had and the board would have had a tremendous amount of stick for letting him go for nothing. So to get $3.5 million for him with 6 months left of this contract isn't that bad a deal, to be honest with you. It just depends what they do with that money. That's the main thing.
It's plus add-ons as well, isn't it? I read somewhere that if Ipswich get promoted, there's further money coming our way. So I agree with you. I think it's a great deal for.
I think it's win-win all the way. I mean, he wasn't going to sign, was he? So why keep him and let him go for nothing at the end of the season?
We may have to play this back to you if he scores the winning goal in the Wembley playoff final. Sorry, Dale,
Dale,
go
go
on.
on, finish.
I think his performances, though. I think his performances since Christmas, along with Zach. I mean, they're both very good professionals, and I wouldn't ever say they're down tools. But obviously, as a player, you do go into January wondering what's going to happen. And I think Mehmeti's form has dipped slightly over the last few weeks. Zach as well, and it's not for the fact they don't care or anything like that, because they don't. They generally have. They're both great professionals, and they've done a great job for. Both players have done a great job for us. But I think, you'd be stupid to say that hasn't played on their mind. And I think obviously Anis, he's probably going to go there as a backup, really, isn't he? For the players there. So, but to 3.5 million, like Liam said, plus add-ons could be 4 million. It's not that bad a deal, really, is it? So now is what they do with that money. That's the thing.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think it's a good deal for both teams. I think. I don't think we was ever going to sell him for much more, considering his contract situation. So yeah, fingers crossed we're able to spend it wisely.
Okay. Can we talk about Hirakawa while we're on the same subject? We've just spoken to our Hull fans who are absolutely delighted with how he started. We know you don't tend to play wingers, Sam, so it makes sense in terms of his own natural position. But is this another head scratcher for you or not?
I don't know. To be fair, like when he first come to the club, he looked like he was the business. But for me, he looked a little bit lightweight, and we don't really play with the wingers, do we? So I don't think he fitted Struber's system. Yeah.
Liam, any loss?
Yeah, definitely. Now that Mehmeti's gone, I think looking at everyone on a whole, everyone that's left, I think come the summer, so we fast forward to the summer, I think he's inherited a squad that plays the way we do because of what Liam Manning put in place. I think come the summer, with all the players that have left, I think the way that we're going to go, I think Struber might look to play wingers next season. So there was the quote, I think, about Hirakawa, he'll come back as a redeveloped player for next season. So does that mean we're going to change in the summer? I agree. I agree to an extent what Sam's saying. He's not a typical number 10. We don't really play wingers. But then for me, I know players have to adapt to styles as well, but also a manager's job is to get the best out of his squad. Now, if he knows Hirakawa is an out-and-out winger, put him in that position. Change the system when he comes on for him to be effective in that position. It swings both ways for me. I think it will be a loss now that Mehmeti's obviously gone. It depends what we do in the next 9 days. 2nd of February, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, he's already gone and jumped into the crowd and hugged a boy who was being bullied, which is testament to the character.
Fair play to him for that. That's good of him, isn't it?
That he is. One of the biggest, in terms of notoriety at the club, losses that we've had, of course, Dale, has been Max O'Leary's permanent signing to West Brom. Of course, he's been at the club since, since a young lad, as the picture indicates there. And we've spoken on here certainly we'll get Liam's view on this in a minute, many times about Max. Is this a mistake?
No, for me personally, I think he's a good shot stopper. But I think he suffered in a way from the lack of competition over the last couple of years, 2-3 years since Dan Bentley went. He was at his best. Then he got injured, obviously, but I think he got, I wouldn't say sloppy, but maybe a little bit complacency with the lack of competition. And I think that didn't benefit him, to be honest, in his development. I think Ballage, Stefan Ballage, who was there for a couple of years, didn't really put him under any serious amount of competition for his place. I think, obviously, we've all now seen the step up with VTech. And I think, obviously, Struber knows that. I think he's aware now that, obviously, if VTech does leave in the summer, gets recalled back, he thinks, obviously, that he can upgrade on Max. I agree with that as well. I think where we want to go and where we want to be, I don't think Max O'Leary is quite where we, what we need. He's a solid championship goalkeeper. I think it was quite telling the fact that, QPR, Blackburn and Derby came in for him, not the top end of the championship. So I think, for me personally, he's been a fantastic servant for the club, but I think it's the right decision.
Liam, do you agree and share with us your favourite Max O'Leary moment?
Yes, I to a degree. I think with VTech going back to United, there's no way we're going to get VTech on a permanent. You look at okay, you look at the likes of Michael Cooper. To sign a keeper of that caliber, Cooper is one of the better, for me, probably up there, possibly top 5 keepers in the league. That was a £5 million signing for Sheffield United from Plymouth. Now, are we going to go and spend that on a goalkeeper? Probably not. So we're probably going to end up with a keeper in the same sort of ilk that O'Leary is next season. I don't think we're going to, especially with, like I said, it all depends what he does with the rest of the funding with the squad and stuff. But for me, if you're signing a top championship goalkeeper, you're spending between £5 and probably £7.5 million. And I just don't see us doing it. So I think we're going to either end up playing Lumley as a number one, or we're going to end up with a keeper in the same sort of mould.
We'll look to sign in Sam Tickle from Wigan.
But he's, again, yeah, I can see that. But he has his moments. You watch some of his games, he drops some clangers and he lets some goals, and you think, why hasn't he saved that? All keepers do. That's the problem.
And it gets highlighted more when they're a goalkeeper. You know,
Yeah,
a striker
exactly.
misses an open goal, but then scores a winner. You forget about the open goal miss, don't you?
I think overall, I think Max, from what you read of what him and Struber have been talking about, what Struber has said to the media, Max wanted to play. He sees himself as a number one somewhere. Maybe being at the club for 18 years, that is the right time for him to move on personally. It might rejuvenate his career. He's 29. He's probably got his eye on the World Cup if Ireland do get there. So he's got his own sort. He's got 6 months to prove himself at West Brom to either get another contract there or be picked up by just someone else. So it makes sense in that view. We've probably saved ourselves between 8.5 and 10 grand a week. That's 8.5, 10 grand a week we can put into someone else now.
Sam, you've met him a few times. Sam, final message to him from all of us here.
Yeah, and thank you for your service, Max. Like, you kept us in so many games. I know the fans weren't always on your side, but you know you were great when we needed you at times.
Yep. Anybody pick out a favourite Max O'Leary save just at the top of your heads?
I think it's his debut at Villa. That's probably the best game I've seen him play.
Yeah. Any others?
I don't know that second half against West Brom when Hayden Roberts scored the winner at the end. He kept us in with some great saves in that game.
Okay. Right, thank you, Max. Comment below if you think it's completely wrong. Three crucial players gone in the space of 9 days. You can understand why some of the fans are getting a little bit concerned. However, Ben, let's hit the positives from that game. Let's talk about Sam Bell, shall we, for a second? Because he's looks like a brand new player. I Hate Tiki Taka says, I used to be Sam Bell's biggest critic, but he was outstanding today. Needs to be given a proper go. Whatever Wickham have done to him, thank you. Seba says Bell needs to start the next game. Looks like a whole new player. Yeah, do you agree, Ben?
Yeah, no, he's definitely Lonestar's done him really good. To be fair, but I feel like he's a confidence player. I feel like when he scores goals, when he has some good runs, it kind of helps his confidence. He's always had a bit of potential. I was never the biggest fan of him before he went out on loan, but I think he's definitely done him good, and he was a real threat. I feel like he's more of a substitute kind of player. He's someone when the defence gets a bit tired, he's got the pace to run in behind. He's a good dribbler, and hopefully his end product was always a little bit what was lacking, I think, before he went out on loan. But fingers crossed, he's kind of got that sorted a little bit, and then he could definitely be a real handy player for us.
Yeah. Do you agree, Dale?
Yeah, definitely. I thought he was one of those games just it was a bit flat, and he came on and he seemed to spark the team. It's just his energy, his enthusiasm, his willingness to take players on as well. I think to be brave and take players on, his movement as well, running across the line in behind. I thought he was he was great. I thought he did more in 10 minutes in introduction than Emil Rees did yesterday. So I think he's trying to prove a point, and he hopefully he'll get a fair crack of the whip. With being started. So he's probably still not at that level at the moment of being the number one striker, but he certainly didn't do his chances any harm yesterday.
Yeah. Right then, 7th in the table we are then, Liam, with what only we've got 15 or so games left. Derby up next to Ashton Gate on Friday night. I don't know why this is on a Friday, because it was the worst game of this game I've watched all season. The reverse fixture of this on the Friday night. This has to be a win, doesn't it? If we're serious about playoffs, all our home games now are 3 points.
You'd like to think so, but with how consistently inconsistent we are this year, we'll probably go on and either draw or lose. But yeah, we have to flip this home form somehow. We have to make it. The second half of the season last year was our best run at home for God knows how long. We need that to be replicated now. We need everyone to get behind the team, regardless of what's going on off the pitch. Get the fans behind the team, and let's make Ashton Gate a fortress. We have, like I said, we have to win. No disrespect to Derby, but it's teams like that we have to be beaten.
Yeah, scored 5 against Watford only a couple of weeks ago in the cup. It certainly can be done. We need to put the Preston games aside from us, don't we? As well. How's Sam Morsey done, Sam?
He looks a steady player. I mean, obviously he's aging a bit, isn't he? But I think he's just brought in to influence like Randall and Jason Knight on how they play. He's not a bad signing, but he's not the best signing we could have made, to be fair.
Okay, right. We bigged him up. We bigged him up too much, Del, didn't we, in our last video? It seems like.
Yeah, I think he's. To be honest with you, he's great. I think in the game where you want last 15, 20 minutes of game to calm the team down. I mean, at Oxford last week, he played far too deep, and what he's doing is he's coming back and taking the ball off the centre back, so he doesn't need to. And the rest of the guys will tell you if you watching City play when we look really good is when Dickie or Viner, the middle one of the three, have punched the ball in a forward pass into a striker or 10. It's come back, and then Knight and Randall have played the vertical forward pass for people to run in behind. But what he's doing is he's actually picking the ball up and he's actually stopping us from playing that way. And all he's doing is playing long passes over the top, which we haven't really done it. But we've looked good as when we played through the lines, and Morsey tends to not to do that. He's still a great player, but I think that little bit of patterns of play, I think, has actually disrupted us slightly, funny enough. But I think in games when it's tight, say like Friday night, you're winning against Derby's 2-1 with 10, 15 minutes to go, I think he's a great player to bring on.
Super. Okay. Right.
He's always a good bet for a yellow card on your betting slip as well.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. We were crying out for someone who don't mind putting a tackle in, and he is that sort of player. But for me, I just think I watched him against obviously Sheffield Wednesday yesterday. I mean, when Sinks went through and we scored our second goal, the way he cleared that ball, it looked like someone's dad had put a kit on and just joined him for fun. I think his legs, for all the good he can do, he hasn't got the legs for it anymore.
Okay. We're up to letter M in our A to Z. If you're a regular viewer, we're halfway through the alphabet now. Reached halfway point. So we're looking for any player with a surname beginning with M, or any incident of Bristol City's history that needs to go in our A to Z encyclopedia of this great club. Before we get there, because we're on M, we thought we'd pause and think about managers, and think about, in our lifetime, who's been the best manager we've watched in terms of the style of football they brought to Ashton Gate. Maybe not really successful, but who've we enjoyed watching the most in our lifetime? We'll go in order of age here, if that's a rough order of age, without obviously insulting anyone. Ben, obviously that's you first then. Who've you enjoyed watching?
I think in my lifetime, I think there's definitely a shout for Struber. Like, in terms of like the style of football that we can play, I think in terms of like the memories, difficult one because I feel like I would get hate, but as memories as a season go, I think I might have to say Manning would have to be up there just because of last season in itself. But like in terms of style of football, I don't see why. I think in my lifetime, Struber's well up there.
Okay, right, and then all of you are similar ages, so we'll just go round here clockwise. Del.
I'd say in recent times, I think that's 6 months under Lee Johnson from 2018 up to January. I think that started that season of January where we played Man City, Manchester United round, and some of the football was absolutely fantastic. But I'd probably most favourite era I would say is Terry Cooper, late 80s. Absolutely fantastic. Got us from the old 4th division, 2 Wembley Cup finals, straight over, and they were 4-4-2, old traditional 2 wingers, just brilliant to watch. Yeah, so yeah, I love that.
Good stuff. Liam?
It's one or two. It's either going to be Steve Cottrell's double season. I thought we won that league at a canter. It was brilliant to watch. Or I'm going to say Gary Johnson. Again, getting us up and then almost taking us, one game within 1 game of the Premier League. We won't mention that goal that Windass scored like we always do. But yeah, it's a flip of the coin for the two. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say for sheer entertainment value and how we made it look easy on quite a lot of occasions, I would say Cottrell 14-15.
Yeah. Okay. All different answers here, Sam.
Yeah, for me, like I agree with like Lee and Gary Johnson, but like the best two what I've seen have both had the board do the dirty on them. Would have been John Ward, like when he took us up, he didn't get back fully, and then they brought in Benny Lennartson, which was probably our worst ever manager. If you want to do the worst manager,
Next week.
John Ward and Steve Cottrell are the best two managers I've seen at the club.
So next week we will look at the worst managers. So get typing in the comments, please. We'll read some of these out next week. Right, letter M then. Open forum. Who's got any good suggestions for this?
I'm gonna say Jamie McComb, big defender. We had like we've had defenders in the past. I've said it about Nathan Baker. He would head a brick if it came at him. So for me, Jamie McComb, tall. He was pivotal in that year. We got to the playoff final.
Okay, shout. Anyone beat that?
Yeah, Michael McIndoe with his goals in that season. Michael McIndoe.
Sorry, Ben, did you say one?
I don't know how well it's going to go down, but just because we're in the playoffs, I'm saying Liam Manning.
Okay.
You got us to the playoffs afterwards,
I can feel the hate in the comments now, Ben. I'm just saying this here. Any more? Or we're going to go with Liam's. Yeah.
Scott Murray.
Oh yeah,
Scott Murray. How could we forget Scotty Murray? Like?
Playing Scotland, absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go with Dels.
Okay,
Yeah,
Scott Murray.
100% Scotty Murray.
No Alice Mehmeti then.
No, Mehmeti, yeah. Scott Murray gets in the Bristol City A to Z. We're up to letter N next week, so join us for that. And of course, we'll be reviewing the Derby County game this Friday. Please make sure it's far more entertaining than the last one. That'd be great for us to sit and watch as a neutral. Right, thank you very much, you four. We'll catch you next week. Catch you next week as well. Drop us a sub if you haven't done so already. 20 minutes of Bristol City chat coming at you weekly. Great to have your company this week. See you then.